Please remember that this video is opinion based and should not be taken seriously. Also, remember to like and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and comment down below any particular topic that you would like me to address. And let's now move on with the video. Welcome everyone, this is Angelica, and today I bring you a similar video to one I've done in the past. So in the past I did a video about which legends and myths I would like to see being implemented into FGO. But myths and legends aren't the only type of servants that are possible in FGO. There's another type that occasionally appears, and that is the pseudo-servants. So for this video, instead of talking about which myths and legends I would like to see in FGO, I will instead be talking about which characters from the Fate universe I would like to see as servants in the future. Not just the Fate universe, but in general the nasuverse. And it will be a top 10, because of course. So, let's start this. Number 10, Arcueid from Tsukihime. I think pretty much everyone has at one point kinda thought that this was going to happen. Tsukihime is a pretty famous visual novel, and its main female protagonist, Arkwade, is also quite known. So it's no-brainer that Arkwade is going to eventually become a pseudo-servant in FGO. She even appeared in Fate Extra as an opponent, so it's clear that the idea of making Arkwade into a servant is nothing new. It's been done years ago, and it's only a matter of time until it's finally done in Fate Grand Order. The fact that the Tsukihime remake was announced is also a pretty big indicative that Arkwade will probably be added at one point. That said, I'm actually not that excited about Arkwade. Arkwade has already been done as a servant in Fate Extra, and I didn't find it that amazing. Of course, that Arkwade was kind of random and out of place, and if she were to be implemented in FGO, it would probably feel more natural. But even so, out of all of Tsukihime's cast, I would say that Arkwade is probably the one that I'm least excited about. But I'll still give her a spot in the number 10, because I have no one else below her. Number 9, Manaka from Fate Prototype. So this one is kind of the prototype of Illya, the previous version before Illya became the character that we all love. I think Manaka has already been kind of hinted that she may show up, or at least a lot of players have kind of thought that she would be added at one point. And to be honest, I can kind of see it happening. She is kind of her holy grail herself, or not. I'm actually not that familiar with Prototype, but I do know she's kind of a psycho, and I do like psychotic characters, and I would love to see Manaka as a servant, just so I could finally learn about what Fate Prototype is all about. Number 8. Well, this will be a weird one for many. Twice from Extra. Now, Twice is a bit weird one compared to many of the other characters, but I think Twice makes a lot of sense. Twice is the main antagonist in the Fate Extra universe. He is the one who won the previous war, and he is kind of the final boss that you have to deal with. He's kind of a shell of himself when you encounter him, so he's not really what he used to be, but Twice is quite an iconic character for the Fate Extra universe, at least before the Triple C and all the Extella stuff started coming out. He plays quite an important role in the main character's creation. Not only that, I do think that the fact that Twice is kind of himself just a digital footprint by the point that you encounter him makes him easier to make him into a servant. And I would like to see exactly how his personality would actually be up close. Number 7, Fiore from Fate Apocrypha. I really like this character. It's probably the only master that I legit like from Fate Apocrypha. Not only does she have a very likable personality, she has one of the coolest mystic codes I've ever seen Magus employ. Like she just got mechanical arms and legs just shooting at people, and she even names each of their legs. I want to see her as a servant. I want to see her get embarrassed as she says that she gave nicknames to all the arms and legs that she has. Number 6, Ranny from Fate Extra. This one is kind of a no-brainer. In my Fate Extra video, I kind of commented how Ranny is simply not able to compete with Rin in terms of popularity or in terms of likability. And there were some who commented that that wasn't really fair because Rin is just too good. And I agree, Rin's personality is just too good for Ranny to compete, and it's not really Ranny's fault. But it doesn't help the fact that Ranny is kind of a forgotten character, and you can kind of tell because Rin is all over the place in Fate Grand Order, whereas Ranny, she only gets CEs. So I think we should give Ranny a chance as a servant. I mean, clearly in Lost Record, she was already a pseudo-servant, so I don't see what the difficulty here is in putting her as a pseudo-servant in FGO. Number 5, Sion from Melty Blood. We already have a Sion in Fate Grand Order, although she's obviously not a playable character. However, there's something about her that makes me curious. In this Aku event that's currently happening, Sion mentions how she's removed herself from human history, which is a very strange comment to make in general. The fact that she wasn't pulled by Kama too is also very suspicious. There's also the fact that when Holmes was going through the Atlas Institute in the Sixth Singularity, he mentioned how there was no one after Sion's father, which is a very strange thing to say, because clearly Sion is there. Now, this might have been a situation where, at the time, they didn't really think about adding Sion, and then they later on added. However, I do think that they are kinda setting up for a situation where Sion is going to eventually be revealed as actually, maybe not a servant, but maybe something similar, because that'd be pretty cool. I mean, she's still not the Sion from Melty Blood, but I'll take what I can. Number 4, Bazett from Ataraxia. I think just about anyone who is familiar with Bazett has kind of already voiced that they want Bazett in. Bazett is such a cool character, and the fact that Bazett, without even being a servant, is kind of already in servant levels. She herself already has an iconic noble phantom. She herself is very physically capable of fighting other people. She is clearly servant material, yet we have never seen her. And I cannot wait for the day that she is added as a servant. There's a reason why I love her CE. Because plot. Number 3, Ciel from Tsukihime. I don't care about Arcueid, but I do care about Ciel. I want Ciel because, oh my god, I love her design. I love the whole... It's the same reason why I love characters like Otomine. I just love the concept of a priest who can just beat your ass. I just love the concept of a priest who just whips out these blades and just starts throwing at you Wolverine style. And I want to see more of that. Ciel is clearly servant material. Clearly she is very capable of being a pseudo-servant. And hopefully when the crossover event happens between Tsukihime and Fate Grand Order, it's not just Arcueid that's going to be added, and it will be both Arcueid and Ciel. I don't really care if she's a 4-star or a 5-star, I just want Ciel in, because I like Ciel. Number 2, Hakuno from Fate Extra. Now, I don't actually care that much about the male version. I legit don't. I think the male version's design is very bland. But the female version design is... I don't know why, it's just so good. It's kind of interesting how the female Hakuno is so popular, while the male Hakuno, who technically is the same, but whose design is just slightly different, is like no one cares about him. I really like Hakuno. I want to see Hakuno. I don't even care. I even have an idea on how you could make Hakuno work. So you just release Hakuno as a welfare servant, right? So welfare servant doesn't change clothes, so you don't need to worry about which version you're using. But you add a costume to the Hakuno so that people can choose whether they want the male version or the female version. There you go. I just added Hakuno into the game, and I want to see it, and whatever. Number 1, and this one is probably going to surprise some people. It's from Prisma Illya, of all places. And that is Angelica. Oh boy, I wonder how many people are like, who? Who's Angelica? It's like, if you don't know Prisma Illya, this is Angelica. There's one CE in the game that uses her in the art, and I want Angelica. I really want Angelica. I think I've mentioned this in the Fate Zero video, however, I will say this. I am a Gilgamesh fanboy. I have been a Gilgamesh fanboy for 15 years, and oh boy, I never knew I needed a gender band of Gilgamesh until they did that gender band artwork exhibition or fan book, where they just gender banded a bunch of characters, and Gilgamesh, female Gilgamesh was just there, and I was like, oh, I must have this. And Angelica is the closest thing I will ever get to a female Gilgamesh, and I need that. I will simp for Angelica the day that she is released. I will burn my wallet, my credit card, I will burn all of it for Angelica. So please, FGO, release Angelica eventually. And those are the characters that I would like to see being added from the nasuverse into the Fate Grand Order universe. To be honest, there's actually not that many options. Obviously, there's a lot of masters from several other Fate series, but most of them are actually not that much noteworthy. Fate Strange Fate does have some quite interesting masters, but the thing about Fate Strange Fate is that the author has kind of already stated that they don't want to add any of the characters in it until Fate Strange Fate is completed to avoid spoilers, and I can respect that. Fate Requiem also has a few masters here and there, but to be honest, I don't know enough about Requiem to care that much about the masters, and I'm by far much more interested in the servants that are still within Requiem and that I want to see them out of there. There's also other stories such as Prototype and the Fragments of Prototype or whatever. There's also the Labyrinth one. There's a whole bunch of other Fate series and others such as Karanokyokai that has also characters that are on servants, but in general, I don't think that they need to be added. But hey, maybe you'd like to see other characters that I didn't mention be added into Fate Grand Order. Or maybe you'd like them not to add any more characters like that, and just to keep with the myths and the legends as much as possible. But hey, comment down below what your opinion is. And remember, if you enjoy my content, leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Don't forget to comment also any topic you would like me to talk about. And until next time, bye.